Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Hare Krishna. Mataji, just for my information, are you the devotee who is facilitating with the starting the sessions every class, Mataji? Are you doing that bit or who's doing that? Mataji, you are on mute, please.
Sorry, I think that's Shivas Prabhu.
Srivas Prabhu, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. And who's marking the attendance for this batch, Mataji? Would this be indicated?
Oh, actually, I think it's something Gopi. Her name's something Gopi. Sorry, I'm terrible with names.
So, okay, fine. So
So,
what?
So her name is. Oh, I don't have her number stored, but it's Gopi something. Her name is.
So she's the one who's marking the attendance. Okay.
Yeah, she's the normally one who coordinates with us.
Okay, so if Maharaj wants somebody as a go-to person for any help with regard to either create breakout rooms or anything which a coordinator normally does, who would that person be with it?
I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to do that in terms of.
Okay, no, but you need to be a host for that. Have you been logging in as a host for these sessions? Or
Well, today I have, because nobody else has arrived. I've got the host key, so I have
you have the
for other
host,
patches.
no problem. So when I introduce Maharaj, I'll let him know that you'll be the person who will be helping or assisting him with any such requirements. Then, yeah.
Okay, sure.
Thank you very much.
So, but then I won't be taking attendance or anything like that, right? So that will be
No, that's fine. If somebody else is assigned for that purpose, let them continue doing that, and I'll coordinate with that person at least for just ensuring that any support is provided to Maharaj. You can kindly pitch in, please. Yeah.
Sure, no problem.
And if any challenges, just drop me a line, and I'll try to see what I can do, please. Yeah.
Okay, problem, no problem.
Thank you very much. So let's wait for Maharaj to join. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisance. We would like to welcome you for this session. For this, my name is Vishweshwar Govindadas. I am the MI coordinator for this particular batch, and so I would like to take this opportunity of welcoming you for this session, Maharaj. I'm sure all the students within the batch have benefited from your teaching in the past, but I take the opportunity of just giving a short introduction about Maharaj. Maharaj is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He met Prabhupada and got initiated from Srila Prabhupada in London in 1971. And immediately a year after that, he got a second initiation also. Maharaj has been preaching for the past many decades in various Asian countries, including India, Philippines, China, and Thailand. Throughout these years of preaching, he has given countless souls practical guidance and deep inspiration. He took sannyasa in the year 1994 from His Holiness Samal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. And since then, he's been strictly following the various sadhanas. Whoever gets to know Maharaj admires and respects his sincerity and faithful practice of chanting of the holy name. He truly walks his talk. Maharaj has been teaching at MI right from its inception. In fact, I myself have been benefited by his immense learning, teaching right through my Bhakti Shastri and beyond also. In fact, next week also, I'm going to be, Maharaj is going to be our faculty in one of the other courses. So Maharaj, I take this opportunity of welcoming you for this group. The group has about 8 to 10 members, and if you need any assistance on an ongoing basis with regard to any technology support or anything, one of the students, one of the devotees can pitch in. I understand Vrindavani Mataji will be helping you with regard to any technical support you may require. And beyond that, there are specific devotees who have been assigned the roles to take mark attendance and other aspects, Maharaj. If anything you require me on an ongoing basis also, you can just request any of the devotees. I'll be happy to assist you in any manner, Maharaj.
Okay, thank you very much, Prabhu. Very kind of you to offer so much facility for me. I'm very grateful to you for that. Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll go ahead with the class here. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksur Militanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, good evening to everyone, and I'm happy to have this opportunity to go through this fourth canto section. We're dealing with the chapters, beginning chapter 20 of the fourth canto. Is that right? And we'll be going up to chapter number 23?
Yes, Maharaj.
Thank you. All right, so chapter 20, Lord Vishnu's appearance in the sacrificial arena of Maharaj Prithu. So you'll remember from chapter 19 what had happened there, that how there'd been Maharaj Prithu performing his horse sacrifices, and it was something of a competition going on between Maharaj Prithu and Indra. Indra, the king of heaven, had performed 100 horse sacrifices. So Maharaj Prithu had performed 99 sacrifices, and Indra became worried that he would lose his position to Maharaj Prithu. So Indra managed to steal away the horse, which was meant for the sacrifice. So this is what happened, and here we have this chapter beginning. Maitreya is saying, my dear Vidur, being very much satisfied by the performance of 99 horse sacrifices, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, appeared on the scene. Accompanying him was King Indra. Lord Vishnu then began to speak. So, Lord Vishnu was satisfied with the 99 offerings. He was not so much worried that he had to have 100 offerings. Although Indra had managed to perform 100 offerings, 100 sacrifices. Now we can see the mood in the heavenly planets, that even in heaven there's sometimes this kind of tension and this concern. Someone's better, someone's doing more, someone's got a better position or a higher position. There's not that perfect satisfaction there. Although it's the heavenly planets, and certainly everyone who's there have performed a number of pious deeds in order to get into that heavenly position. But still, there are some problems. They have some problems. It's still the material world, although they're predominantly situated in the mode of goodness, but still they have their problems. And we'll be hearing a little bit about them here. They have problems, they have good qualities, but they have their faults also. So the chapter comes up about like this. Lord Vishnu's come along with King Indra, and they've come to see Maharaj Prithu. So Lord Vishnu says to Maharaj Prithu that Indra, the king of heaven, has disturbed your execution of 100 sacrifices. Now he's come with me to be forgiven by you. Therefore excuse him. So this is the interesting situation here, that Lord Vishnu is coming to beg Maharaj Prithu to forgive or to excuse Indra from stealing away your horse and causing you not to be able to complete this 100th sacrifice. I mean, you could imagine what it must have been like. You know, we just like people play cricket, and you get to 99 runs, and then you'd be very anxious to get the 100 runs. And indeed, if they get the 100 runs, then it's appreciated, and they'll get applause, and, you know, congratulations, you got a century. So similarly here, Maharaj Prithu, he wanted to have 100 sacrifices, but Indra had crushed his attempt to do that. But now, Indra's repenting a little bit, and he's come along with Lord Vishnu, and he's asking Maharaj Prithu to excuse him. In other words, he wants him to forgive him. So it's an interesting situation, and forgiveness is something which is important. It's a devotional quality. You can see here in the purport of text number 3, at the end of the purport, it is said that forgiveness is a quality of those who are advancing in spiritual knowledge. To be able to forgive someone is an indication that you are advancing in spiritual knowledge. There was another situation you may remember from the 3rd canto, where the quality of forgiveness was displayed. Do any of you remember? Can you think of some other incidents where devotees had to show that forgiving quality? I put it open to the class. Yes, somebody has their hand up. Maharaji?
Lord Shiva forgave Daksha.
He forgave Daksha. Did he forgive him?
Well, he punished him just so that he could learn a lesson. But he was never really angry in the beginning. But Daksha offered prayers, and Lord Shiva says, you know, it's fine. I'll grant you a head, and please behave yourself as you go forward.
I grant you a what?
I'm not sure whether he exactly grants forgiveness, but from his mood, it seemed that Lord Shiva was, you know, forgave him for his misbehavior with him.
I've certainly got punished, didn't he? He got his head replaced with the head of a goat. Was that the incident?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept our humble obeisances. Maharaj, we see in the first canto Draupadi forgiving Ashwadhama despite him killing her 5 sons who were sleeping actually. She
Ah,
still, yeah.
yes, right. Draupadi. What was her reason for forgiving him?
She one of the reasons she states that is that she is also a mother of 5 children and she was in tears and she didn't want the wife of a Brahmana to be in tears in the same way as she is feeling for her children. This was one of the reasons.
Yes, right. Her sons had all been killed, and she thought, I know what it's like. I don't want her to have to go through what I'm going through. And so, yes, that quality, that was there in Draupadi. That was one example. Yes? Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandot Pranams. Maharaj, in the third canto, we again see the example of the Lord coming out of the doors of Vaikuntha to ask forgiveness from the Kumaras on behalf of the offense that was committed by Jaya and Vijaya, and asking them to forgive them for their intrusions.
Yes, right. That's an interesting one. Yeah. The Lord came personally to beg forgiveness for Jai and Vijay, that they had obstructed the 4 Kumaras. And so the Lord personally came and begged forgiveness on their behalf. Yes, thank you. Okay, is there another one? Anyone else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj is Giri Gopal Das from Malaysia. Yes, there is one incident that Brahma asked to forgive from Lord Shiva, asked forgive all these devas and all that, in the beginning of 4th canto.
Okay. There was another one which I just recently came across in the 3rd canto. It was describing about, it was Parashara Muni. Do you remember that one?
Yes, Para ceremony forgiving Pulastya.
Yes, right. Yeah, do you remember the whole incident? Somebody had killed Parashara's father.
The demons, you know.
Right. So, what Parashara wanted to do a yagya to kill the demons, right? And then Vashishta came, and Vashishta begged Parashara Muni that, please don't do this. That this is not very proper to do this, to kill all the demons. One demon has killed your father, you want to kill all the demons. This is not very good, not proper behavior. Please forgive them. Please forgive, be forgiving. So Vishishta, being senior and very worthy of respect, so Parashara listened to the words of Vashishta and he stopped the sacrifice. And so he was very pleased with Parashara and he gave him a benediction. Do you remember? Giri Gopal, do you remember what benediction he got?
I'm not very sure, I'm confused, but 2 other benedictions from different incident, Maharaj. I'm not really sure about it.
No, well, as I remember, he was given the benediction that he would be a great preacher, that he would preach nicely. That blessing was given to him because he had shown the quality of forgiveness. And that quality of forgiveness is considered a quality of a Brahmana. Okay, so this quality of forgiveness is mentioned here also. And Who's got to be who's forgiving who? In this situation, who is required to be forgiving?
The
Prithu
demons.
Maharaj.
Huh?
Prithu Maharaj to be forgiving Indra.
Who is going to forgive Indra?
Prithu Maharaj.
Prithu Maharaj, right. Prithu Maharaj he's requested to show the quality of forgiveness, right. If one is actually on the transcendental platform, then we should be forgiving. We shouldn't mind. Because what's happening, somebody is insulting, somebody is not treating you well, but that's on the bodily platform. That's in relation to the material body. It's simply a material activity. We shouldn't be worried by it. We shouldn't take it very seriously. And Prabhupada writes at the end of the purport of text 2, the body is only a superficial covering. Consequently, an advanced transcendentalist will not make a distinction between oneself and another. Then text number 3 goes on, an advanced human being is never malicious to others. Those with advanced intelligence are always conscious that this material body is different from the soul. And so when people are doing harm and giving us trouble, it's all in relation to the body. No one can harm the soul. So we have to learn to be tolerant, like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, tolerant like the tree. And so that kind of forgiveness is important. And when we have that kind of tolerance, like a tree, then we will be able to forgive. And we see how the trees are tolerant, how they forgive. People come, cut them, but still they continue to give shelter and they give fruits and so on. So this is an important point which comes up at the beginning of this chapter, that Maharaj Prithu is encouraged not to take the dealings of Indra too seriously. Don't be too much disturbed by what's been happening. Okay. And Lord Vishnu goes on, warning Maharaj Prithu, if a personality like you, who are so much advanced because of executing the instructions of the previous acharyas, is carried away by the influence of my material energy, then all your advancement may be considered simply a waste of time. So that's quite heavy words coming from the Lord. He's saying, all your advancement will be considered simply a waste of time. So our behavior, how important behavior is, we have to learn to be fixed on the transcendental platform and not to be disturbed by things. One time Srila Prabhupada was giving a lecture, and somebody in the middle of the lecture, someone stood up and began to hurl abuse at Srila Prabhupada. And then the man who hurled the abuse, then he turned and walked out. And Srila Prabhupada simply looked and said, I must have offended him in my previous life. So Srila Prabhupada was being tolerant. He didn't take the man too seriously. He simply understood must be some karmic thing, some reaction from previous life. So Prithu Maharaj was certainly trained in the parampara system, and so it's certainly his duty to be tolerant and to show saintly qualities. And later on we will see actually how much the Lord appreciates Prithu Maharaj's behavior. The behavior of the devotees, very, very, very important, right? We all have a responsibility to behave nicely, to present the Krishna consciousness movement. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada had to deal with complaints, especially in relation to our Sankirtan tactics. Some people would become offended and they would write complaining. And Prabhupada would write back to them. Prabhupada would give them a reply, and he would also apologize to them. And at the same time, he would also try to encourage the person who was complaining that they should be forgiving, that they shouldn't take it too seriously, but they should see the higher principle that the devotees have sacrificed their life for the service of Krishna, and that they were distributing books not for their own benefit, but with the purpose of trying to benefit others. So like that. Okay, so going ahead, talking about those who are in full knowledge of the bodily concept of life, know that the body is made of nescience, desires, and activities. Do not become addicted to the body. So, we're getting powerful instructions here that we shouldn't be attached to the bodily concept of life. So, Srila Prabhupada's purport continue in that vein, that performing activities, they should be done for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. And Prithu Maharaj was performing sacrifices. They should be done for the pleasure of Vishnu, not for his own satisfaction. So that idea of doing 100 sacrifices, that's more for his pleasure. It's not going to give pleasure to Lord Vishnu. Whether you did 99 or 100 doesn't make any difference to Lord Vishnu. And whatever we do, it should be done for Lord Vishnu. So, Maharaj Prithu is being corrected. You shouldn't be too much attached to wanting to do 100 sacrifices, because you're doing it for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu, and he doesn't mind if you do 99 or 100. It's not going to make a big difference to him. So in this way, Maharaj Prithu is encouraged to give up his material attachment. And then Prabhupada goes on talking about the Vedas and performing material activities, because that's what the Vedas mainly deal with. Rise above the modes, Trigunya Vishaya Veda. The Vedas deal with the three modes of nature, rise above the modes, be transcendental to all of them, be free from all dualities. So the Lord continues instructing Maharaj Prithu, how can a highly learned person who has absolutely no affinity for the bodily conception of life be affected by the bodily conception in regard to house, children, wealth, and other bodily productions? That a person's actually trained in spiritual knowledge, then he has to detach himself from the material situation. We have to apply the knowledge which we have received. We shouldn't maintain material attachment. So Prabhupada writes about Vedic ritualistic ceremonies, how people usually perform ritualistic ceremonies. They're interested in sense gratification. Right? He says, materialists who are especially interested in sense gratification are given permission or license to enjoy sense gratification by executing the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. That is called Trigunya Vishaya Veda. Right? The Vedas, so the Vedas, dealing with the three modes of material nature, they're offering material facilities to people. You can enjoy the material world, right? But that is not the ultimate purpose of the Vedas. But that is one purpose, that is there. But there's another side to the Vedic performance also. And on the higher platform, people can perform Vedic ritualistic ceremonies for the transcendental service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is called Naistrigunya. That means above the three modes of material nature. Devotional service to the Lord has nothing to do with the material conception of life. So performing devotional service is meant to be done simply for the pleasure of Krishna. We don't do it for our own satisfaction. And pure devotional service is not done the purpose shouldn't be just to nullify our sinful activities. We should perform devotional service simply for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So in this way, the Lord is encouraging that Maharaj Prithu has to come to that standard, that the actual standard of pure devotion. Of course he's a great devotee, he is, but for the sake of instruction, this is all being told to him. Maharaj Prithu, he is a Shaktavesha avatar, right? He's the empowered personality. He's able to perform wonderful service for the Lord, performing nice sacrifices. All right, so then the chapter goes on discussing the nature of the soul, coming to the transcendental platform. Important point is made that by knowledge, one will come to devotion. So people have to have transcendental knowledge. If they can get a good understanding of the spiritual aspect of life, then it will make it much easier for them to take up the path of devotion. The yoga ladder is also there. We know from the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna had described the yoga ladder and how generally people begin with karma kanda and then come to karma yoga and then jnana yoga and then dhyana yoga and then bhakti yoga. So if one has knowledge, certainly that transcendental knowledge can help one to become devotee. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna described 4 kinds of people who will come to him, right? Chatur vida bhajanti mam jnana sukritino arjuna arto jignasur artarti jnani cha bharatashaba. 4 reasons why people come to Krishna consciousness. And of these 4 reasons, the best, the 4 kinds of people, who is the best one?
Jnani Maharaj?
Huh?
The Jnani Maharaj?
Yes, the Jnani, the one who comes in search of knowledge. Why is he the best? Why would the Jnani?
But he wants to know the Lord.
He's beyond the material conceptions.
Yeah, beyond the material conception. Yeah, he's not.
Sticks around. He
Yes.
sticks- Whereas someone who might want wealth, they'll get wealth and then they'll just leave once they've got what they need. But the Jnani sticks around.
Yes, that's also true, right? Other people,
It's also beyond 3 modes nature, Maharaj.
yes, beyond the 3 modes of nature, yeah. And what does Lord Krishna say about them once they come, the Jnani? Do they make advancement very quickly?
No, after many, many births. Bhavanam
Right.
Janmanam.
Yes, right. Yeah, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, usually if you just come by the path of knowledge, then their advancement can take longer. Lord Krishna says, as Maharaji quotes, after many births and deaths, one who is actually in knowledge surrenders to me. Such a soul is very rare. So people come to that platform, Samahatma Sudurlabha. They become Mahatmas, devotees. The devotees are all Mahatmas. Prabhupada was quoting the verse, Mahatmanas tumam partha. And Prabhupada said, devotees, you're all Mahatmas. Because you're engaged in chanting the holy name and doing devotional service. So you're Mahatmas. So by the path of knowledge, you can come to bhakti, but generally it takes longer time. You may be lucky, it may come quick, but usually it takes longer. So you can see text number 8, it says, although within the material nature, one who is thus situated in full knowledge of the Paramatma and Atma is never affected by the modes of material nature, for he is always situated in my transcendental loving service. So that is the benefit of getting full knowledge. Then you come to transcendental loving service, hopefully. So even though we're in the material world, we're not caught up in the material world. We're above the modes of nature. The example is given about the lotus flower. The lotus flower sits on the water, not actually in the water, but on the water. So in a similar way, the devotee is not actually under the modes of nature. He's above the modes of nature, because he's engaged in pure loving service for the pleasure of Krishna. All right, so Prabhupada quotes 1426 from Bhagavad Gita, that just by engaging in devotional service, you immediately come to the level of Brahman. And then he also quotes Rupa Goswami. If we're engaged in the service with the body, words, and mind, then he is considered liberated. There's a verse, Hayasya Haredashi Karmana Manasagira Nikilaspatpiyavastastu Jivan Mukta Uchate. So Jivan Mukta, a liberated soul, one who uses the body, mind and words in the service of the Lord. He is liberated even in this very lifetime. He's considered a liberated soul, because he's engaged in devotional service. So you can be Jivan Mukta in this very lifetime. So the Lord continues to instruct Maharaj Prithu. When situated in his occupational duty, engages in my loving service without motive for material gain, he gradually becomes very satisfied within. So Lord Vishnu is describing the important characteristics there in performing service for him and serving the Supreme Lord, that there should not be motive for material gain. Of course, usually material world, everyone is very motivated. They're very karmic people. We're always interested. We want to know what's in it for me. What are you going to give me? What am I going to get? We want to know what's the reward. So here the Lord is saying we should not be motivated for any material gain. In Srimad Bhagavatam, of course, it's also described like that, right? Savai pum samparo dharmo yato bhaktir adhoksan ahaitaki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. So it's similar, this verse is similar to what was stated there in the second chapter of the first canto by Sutta Goswami. Here, Lord Vishnu is saying similar, that we should engage in the Lord's service without material motive, and then we'll gradually become very satisfied within. To satisfy the soul, we have to give up material desires. Right? Material desires burn like lust. They're never satisfied. So it's very important for us. Prabhupada writes in the purport here, discharging one's occupational duty as a means of rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of the Bhagavad Gita, is the ultimate goal of life. Bhagavad Gita confirms this as the process of karma yoga. Right? Karma yoga. This, of course, we've studied that in Bhagavad Gita. What the main principle of karma yoga? How would you, how would you describe karma yoga to someone?
Discharging one's occupational duty as a means to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes. A little more though.
And not to be attached to the result also.
Right, yes, that's important. That detachment from the results, right? That is the essential characteristic of karma yoga. Of course, you've got different levels of karma yoga. You've got sakama karma yoga and niskam karma yoga. So you've got sakama karma yoga with attachment, but you're attached to the work. Some people are just attached to the work. Generally, that's what happens in karma yoga. People are attached to working in a particular way. I have to be the cook, or I have to do the kirtan, or something like that, or I have to be the accountant. We're attached to doing a particular duty, a particular service for the Lord. And at the same time, we're willing to give up the results. But we're pretty much attached to working in a particular way. How is it described in Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga? Give me some verses from Bhagavad Gita about Karma Yoga.
Yat karoshi yadashnasi yat juhosi dadasi.
Translation?
Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever tapasya you do, whatever, you do it as an offering to me.
Yes, Tat Kurushva Mad Arpanam, offering everything to Lord Krishna, all right? Why did Lord Chaitanya reject that when it was spoken by Ramananda Rai? Lord Chaitanya asked Ramananda Rai to give a verse about the ultimate principles of religion. So when Ramananda Rai quoted this verse, Lord Chaitanya, he said, no, go higher.
It is external.
No, that was Varnashram, was external. But Karma Yoga, performance of Karma Yoga, why did Lord Chaitanya reject that?
Is it because it's done out of duty and not love?
Yes, actually Lord Chaitanya wanted to hear about bhakti. He didn't want to hear about karma yoga. He wanted to hear about bhakti yoga. He wanted to know about something higher than karma yoga. Karma yoga, people may sacrifice the result. They don't know who God is, they just do it, A lot of people do karma yoga, they're just pious. And you get a lot of impersonalists, Mayavadis doing karma yoga also. It's not just only bhakti, there's not a lot of bhakti there in karma yoga. Or there may be, but there doesn't have to be. And Lord Chaitanya wanted to hear about bhakti when he asked Ramananda Rai. And so when Ramananda Rai quoted that verse, Lord Chaitanya said, no, go higher. Because people come karma yoga, do karma yoga, they have no idea who God is. Give it, offer to Ganesh, offer to Shiva, offer to this one, offer to that one. They don't really know anything. The nature of karma yoga is there's no real knowledge there. So anyway, here the Lord is encouraging Maharaj Prithu that he should engage in service without motivation for material gain. And that is karma yoga. You're not worried about what you're going to get. You're ready to give the results. And in Bhagavad Gita, the well-known verse for karma yoga, karmani evadi karaste, mapaleshu kadachana, right? You have a right to do your duty. Arjuna, your adhikar, your qualification is to work. People like that part of the verse. They're happy to hear that part where Lord Krishna said your qualification is to work. But when we say ma pali shukadachana, they don't like that part so much. Oh, you have to give the fruit. We like to think I'm doing karma yoga, my work is karma yoga. But karma yoga means to sacrifice the results of the work. Okay. Prabhupada describes in that purport. He said, in other words, we should act only for the satisfaction and service of the Lord. Otherwise, we will be entangled by the resultant actions. So acting for the satisfaction and service of the Lord. Then later on in this purport, text number 9, Prabhupada talks about how devotional service is very simple. He said devotional service is very simple and anyone can adopt it. Let one remain what he is. He need only install the deity of the Lord in his house. The deity may be Radha Krishna or Lakshmi Narayan. There are many forms of the Lord. In this way, a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra can worship the deity with the results of his honest labor. Regardless of one's occupational duty, one should adopt the devotional means of hearing and chanting, etc. In this way, one can very easily engage himself in the service of the Lord. And when the Lord is pleased with one's service, one's mission in life is fulfilled. So one point I notice here in that section, Prabhupada said anyone can worship the deity. He doesn't just say only the Brahmanas should worship the deity. He mentioned the 4 different divisions of society, includes Vaishya and Sudra, and they can all worship the deity. So, how do you any comments on that?
But they have to have proper training and qualify themselves, Maharaj.
Well, Prabhupada said it's very simple. Anyone can adopt it. There's no mention about you have to have proper training and everything. He said, regardless of one's occupational duty, one can very easily engage himself. And Prabhupada said, for example, Gaur-Nitai can be worshipped simply by kirtan. You know? So, do we need to know everything and all the things which the Brahmanas do? Is it just simply for Brahmanas to worship the deities? Where are the Brahmanas in the Kali Yuga anyway? There are no real Brahmanas in the Kali Yuga. Prabhupada saying devotional service is very simple. Any comments, anyone? How do you feel about that? Do you agree or?
Agree, Maharaj.
Maharaj. In 9th chapter also, like Krishna says, no, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. If one offers me with love, devotion.
Yes, well, Patram Pushpam Phalam, that doesn't mean that you should just offer, you may be a rich man and you just offer very basic things, right? that wouldn't be so good. We should worship according to our means. And if somebody is more qualified, okay, you can do more. But it's not that anybody's doing anything wrong.
Maharaj, is it because the deities, the Lord in the deity form is merciful, and he has manifested in that form in order to accept the service of the devotees, and therefore these rules and regulations do not really become a hurdle or an impediment in the execution of deity worship? Would that be the reason?
Well, maybe. It may be. I mean, Prabhupada certainly wasn't too much concerned about all the different rules and regulations and rituals. He kept everything very basic and simple. When we brought deities and so on, when the deities were installed, I guess Prabhupada at the same time, he encouraged that as a society would grow, that we would become more sophisticated and more expert in performing the different rituals of deity worship. But how much is expected for someone at home? You know, you have a deity at home. Many people do. You have their own deities in the house. What kind of standards are they expected to have? Important things are the devotion, cleanliness, punctuality. These things that Prabhupada stressed that, the principles of cleanliness and punctuality. He liked that. He was always concerned that worship should be on time, the deity greeting should be very punctual. And cleanliness also was Prabhupada was also very, very concerned about that. Prabhupada was meticulously clean, and he was also very concerned that our deity worship would be very clean, where everything would be very paka. Kartal should be nicely cleaned, and the artik paraphernalia should be gleaming and shining, regularly polished, these kinds of things. Some people give more attention to mantras and they never polish the paraphernalia. Okay, we'll go ahead. Text number 10. Prabhupada's talking about the Mayavadis and how their concept of Kaivalya is different from the Vaishnavas. So Kaivalya, concept of oneness. But we understand oneness and different. Oneness in desire, but different personalities. And then text 11 describes about liberation. Realizing the difference between the body and the soul. The soul is called Dehi, and one who possesses the body, the material body, is Deha, or the embodiment of the soul. So this is a very basic point, and Prabhupada lectured on this point again and again. The difference between the body and the soul, that we're not the body. He lectured on this point so many times because it's so basic, but at the same time it's so important that everything depends on it. We want to understand Krishna. How can we ever understand the Supreme Absolute Truth if we've not understood our own self? We have not realized our own identity yet. How can we realize the personality of Godhead? So understanding our own self as a spiritual being, this is important. The change, the soul is called kutastam. The soul is fixed, it's called kutastam. The body is changing at every moment. So we have to learn to tolerate these different changes of the material world. Prabhupada talks about happiness and distress. Certainly we are easily affected. Something goes well for us, we rejoice, and when things go wrong, we lament. So hankering and lamenting, that's the nature of the body, the material world. And we want to transcend the material body. So we should not be disturbed by all the different goings on of the material elements. And how we can do that? How can we come to that level, to be indifferent to all of these things? Prabhupada said the practical process to attain this stage of indifference is to execute devotional service. We want to become indifferent to the pleasures and pains of the material world. We just simply have to increase our devotional service. Prabhupada continues, only one who constantly engages in devotional service 24 hours a day can be indifferent to the action and reaction of the eternal body. So devotional service, you can see it's a full-time commitment. How is it possible 24 hours a day? Well, we just simply dedicate everything to Krishna. We eat for the pleasure of Krishna, and we sleep so that we can do service for Krishna the next day. Everything is done in relation to serving Krishna. So 24 hours a day, everything. We work in a job, we do it for the pleasure of Krishna. It's not that we have to just simply stop everything and just sit and chant Hare Krishna 24 hours a day. We cannot imitate Haridas Thakur, but we can follow the example, try to dedicate ourselves fully to Krishna. Prabhupada continues, when a man is absorbed in a particular thought, he does not hear or see any external activities, even though they are enacted in his presence. Similarly, those who are fully absorbed in devotional service do not care what is going on with the external body. That status is called samadhi. One who is actually situated in samadhi is understood to be a first-class yogi. We give the example is, I think it was Stalin. Stalin, that great leader, the ruler at one point of the USSR, Stalin, he had to have a surgical operation. And he did not want to have an anesthetic. So he had them do the surgical operation while he was subconscious. And he was conscious and he held a gun in his hand the whole time. And if they did anything wrong, it'd kill them. But he went through the whole operation, the whole surgery, without an anesthetic. And so that is the point is being brought out here, that somebody is in devotion, doing devotional service, they're not conscious of what's going on with the external body. The external body may be subject to so many pains and pleasures, but he's not disturbed by it. Can you think of some examples of this from the scriptures? Have we got some examples of this in our scriptural?
Maharaj, would Prahlad Maharaj be an example?
Yes, certainly, Prahlad Maharaj. He is the example. He's simply remembering Krishna in every situation. He simply remembers Krishna, wherever he is, whatever's happening. He's not praying to Krishna to save him, but he's remembering Krishna. Okay, someone else?
What about Jada Bharat? When he's being insulted by King Rahugana, he's remembering the philosophy that's given by the Lord in the scriptures.
Yes. Yeah, interesting. Jada Bharat. He was indifferent to... He took the job as a palanquin carrier for Maharaj Rahugan. He didn't really want to carry, but he just did it anyway. Oh, they've taken me, I should do it. And then he was carrying the palanquin at the same time, didn't want to walk on the insects. And so it became a rocky ride for Maharaj Rahugan, and he got angry and threatened to beat Jada Bharat. And then Jada Bharat revealed his actual position. Maharaj Rahugan was thinking he was just an imbecile. He thought he was just an uneducated, stupid person. But then Jada Bharat began to speak the highest philosophy. And then Maharaj Rahugan understood that, oh, this is a very great soul. And Maharaj Rahugan became repentant and fell at his feet and begged forgiveness and asked him where he got that knowledge from. Yes. I was thinking of the example, I was thinking this story about Vasudeva, the leper in Chaitanya Lila. That there was this, the leper Vasudeva, who was a Brahmana, and his body was riddled with leprosy, and the worms were eating his flesh. And if one of the worms fell out from his body, he would pick it up and put it back in his body. And it happened that Lord Chaitanya came there, and Lord Chaitanya embraced him. And when Lord Chaitanya embraced him, his whole body became rejuvenated, and he became transformed, and his body became free of leprosy, and he became very healthy. But Jada Bharat, Vasudeva was not happy to see this change in his body. And Vasudeva said to Lord Chaitanya, he said that now my body is healthy. He said, maybe I could have problems with the material world, and I'll think about sense gratification. So what did Lord Chaitanya tell him to do? Yeah? Someone? What did Lord Chaitanya say he had to do to protect himself from Maya? Anybody?
Not sure, Maharaj.
Have you read the story? You know the story in Chaitanya Charitamrita?
I haven't quite got there yet, Maharaj.
No? Anyway, Lord Chaitanya was in South India, and this one Brahmana had leprosy, and the worms were eating his body. And so he had come to see Lord Chaitanya, but Lord Chaitanya had gone. But somehow, miraculously, Lord Chaitanya returned. And Lord Chaitanya returned, and he saw this leper Vasudeva there, and he embraced him. And the leper Vasudeva's body all became transformed. it all became effulgent and healthy and rejuvenated. But the leper Vasudeva was not happy. He said, now it will be difficult for me. He said, I can be drawn into Maya and I can think about sense gratification. When I had leprosy, there was no question of sense gratification because I was in such a diseased condition. But now my body's healthy and rejuvenated, I may be inclined to sense gratification. Right? When you have a healthy body, you think more about sense gratification. When you're sick and diseased, then you're not so inclined. So, what's the solution? Lord Chaitanya...
Yeah.
Huh?
To chant
Yes?
incessantly. Hare Krishna.
Yes, what did you say, Mataji?
To chant incessantly the Hare Krishna mantra.
Chanting, yeah, you have to become... Lord Chaitanya told the leper Vasudeva, you have to preach. He said you should preach Krishna consciousness, preach about devotional service to Krishna, to everyone, and constantly chant the holy name. He said that will protect you from Maya, if you're constantly preaching. So it's not that, you have to be sick, you have to be diseased to be out of Maya. All right? So Lord Vishnu is continuing to preach to Maharaj Prithu, and he's telling him about the importance of cultivating knowledge. You can see in text number 12, my devotee who is connected with me in intense friendship and affection, being completely in knowledge, is never agitated by material happiness and distress. So Prabhupada in the purport raises a question, right? It's important for us to see how Prabhupada raises these kind of questions, because Prabhupada knows there's going to be questions, people will have arguments about this. So the question may be raised, if a living entity has to act as the superintendent of the activities of the bodily combination, how can it be indifferent to the activities of the body? Right? You're responsible for the body. So how can you be indifferent to the activities of the body? If you're the superintendent, it means you're responsible, you're taking care of the body. So how are you going to be indifferent? So Prabhupada answers, he said, the answer is given here. These activities are completely different from the activities of the spirit soul of the living entity. And Prabhupada goes on to give an example. And he talks about the businessman who is in the car, and the businessman's in the car, he's going to work, and he's thinking about his business all the time, but he's riding in the car. And while he's riding in the car, he knows everything about the car. He knows, oh, does the car, has it got enough petrol? Has the car, did he check the battery? Has he put enough water in the battery? And what about the tire pressure? And he's thinking like that. But at the same time, he's a businessman. So he doesn't really have any connection with the car. He's just sitting there. He's not driving it. But he knows about it. It's his car. So he knows about it, but he's got a driver. In India, most people have like that. They get a driver to drive for them, and they will simply sit there, and they're on the phone all the time. They call people. because they have to do their business. So in the same way, we're in the body. We're in the body. We have to live in the body. We have to take care of the body. But we know we're not the body. We're working. We're doing our service for Krishna. We do our chanting. At the same time, we have a material body. We have to take care some things of the body. You have to do so many things for the body, bathing the body, dressing the body, so many things. Sometimes even exercise for the body. So we're not the body, but we have to live in that body. So we take care of it. So there are different kinds of processes for spiritual advancement. And Prabhupada goes on, he talks about the karmis. They engage in the activities of the body. Their aim is to give comfort to the body. That's just simply the karmi. And the jnani, he's doing philosophical speculation, trying to understand the Brahman, try to come to the spiritual platform, sometimes even do yoga. You get the yogis, pranayama, nose pressing yoga. So bhukti mukti siddhikami sakale ashanta Krishna bhakta niskam sa esha shanta. Bhukti mukti siddhikami sakale ashanta. None of these people are peaceful. Bhukti, those with material desires like the karmi. Mukti, the jnani wants mukti. Siddhi, the yogi wants siddhi. Bhukti mukti siddhi kami, and the materialist wants sense gratification. None of them are peaceful. They all have some material desires. Krishna bhakti niskam sa isha shanta. Only the devotee is peaceful. Devotee can remain transcendental. So in this way, Lord Vishnu is encouraging Maharaj Prithu. He said, keep yourself always equipoised, treat people equally, whether they are greater than you in the intermediate stage or lower than you. Do not be disturbed by temporary distress or happiness. Control your mind and senses. Try to execute your duty as king in whatever condition of life you may be posted by my arrangement. For your only duty here is to give protection to the citizens of your kingdom. So in this way, Lord Vishnu is giving very important instructions to Maharaj Prithu, right? That he has to protect the citizens. That's important. As a Kshatriya king, he has to take care of the people under him. So Prithu Maharaj has been giving instructions by Lord Vishnu, just like Arjuna got instructions in the Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita, Vaya vasayatmika buddhi. Every man's duty is to receive orders from Krishna or from his bona fide representative and take these orders as his life and soul without personal consideration. Every man's duty is to receive orders from Lord Krishna or from his bona fide representative. Right? Can you think of some examples? Who took orders, made their order their life and soul without personal consideration? Please give me some examples.
Srila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada,
What order did he get? What
To
order?
preach in English language
Preach in
to
the
science
English.
of
Okay.
Western country.
Okay.
went to America at the advanced age.
Well, that wasn't an order.
Okay.
Print books.
Yes. What was the order?
Srila Prabhupada said, told him that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj told Srila Prabhupada, if you get money, print books. So he printed
If
so
you
many
ever
books.
get money, use it to print books. Right. Okay, good. All right. What about some other people besides Srila Prabhupada? Don't tell me Srila Prabhupada was the only one who got order from his guru and followed it. There are many examples. To receive orders from Lord Krishna or from his bona fide representative. Think about it. Somebody else?
Arjuna followed Krishna's advice and fought the Kurukshetra war.
What did Krishna tell him?
Like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says many times that you should fight.
Huh?
Like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that you should
I thought
fight.
Krishna left it up to
Mm.
Arjuna to decide what he wanted to do.
Yes, Maharaj. In the end, he says that you can do whatever you. Yeah.
Six Goswamis, Maharaj.
Huh?
6 Goswamis.
What?
All the 6 Goswamis, they followed the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they left all the things and went to Vrindavan to execute the orders of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj following the instructions given to him by Narada.
What instructions particularly?
In terms of how to worship or remember or meditate upon the Supreme Lord. Of course, initially he tried to discourage him in order to test his sincerity and determination, but then later on he initiated him into the 12-syllable mantra and gave him instructions on how to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Okay. Yet he told him first, he told him, go to Mahavan.
Yeah.
Gave him a place. Said, you go there. And he told him, take bath 3 times a day. And he gave mantra also to chant. So he gave a lot of instructions. And Dhruva was very faithful. He followed everything. And he got the result. Yes, okay.
The Prachetas were instructed by Lord Chaitanya, by Lord Shiva, to be united in their bhajan when they went underwater to do austerities.
Prachetas, yes, they cooperated. They cooperated nicely with each other, right? They had good cooperation. That was appreciated. They didn't fight.
Mrigari,
Usually you get brothers, they'll fight with each other, quarrel with each other. They cannot get along. Especially, if the father has a business and then the brothers, they will argue about the money and how to use it and how to develop the business. So the Prachetas, they worked together. That was their success. Yes. Okay. Something else?
Maharaj, how about this Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave order to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur that your Guru Maharaj is Gaura Kishore Das Babaji? Is there an order?
Okay. Yes. Bhaktivinoda Thakur told him you have to take initiation. So he told him who's qualified. He said, well, this one is qualified. Gaura Kishore Das Babaji was qualified.
Mrigari was instructed by Narad Muni?
Who?
To Mrigari?
Mrigarari, the hunter. Okay, yes, he got the hunter to stop killing animals. He got him to chant. He got him to sit by the tulsi tree. Okay. So he took the order seriously. Yes?
Udhav,
Huh?
Udhav, can Lord Krishna, earlier he was, Udhavji, he was not a devote, man, he was like not a pure devotee, or when Lord Krishna asked him to go to Vrindavan and meet the Radharani and gopis, and he changed.
Okay. Uddhav, I don't know if that's exactly true, that he went to Vrindavan and he changed, but he certainly got inspired by seeing the gopis and from the association of the gopis. He appreciated their love for Krishna. Uh-huh.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
Using the same example, Uddhava, after Lord Krishna's departure from this earth, after he finishes pastimes, he followed the instructions of Krishna himself and went to Badrikashrama to preach Krishna consciousness to the rishis and Narnarayana Rishi in Badrikashrama.
Yes, very good. Yes. After the Lord departed, Uddhava had to take, he had been given that instruction by Lord Krishna, right? Good. Similarly, also Hanuman. What was Hanuman's order from Lord Rama?
To stay here on earth.
Yes, right. Hanuman, he was told he should stay, he shouldn't go back to the spiritual world. He didn't get to go with Lord Rama back to the spiritual world. Hanuman is in, where is it? He's in a place near Mount Meru. Kimpurusha.
Yeah, Kimpurusha.
Kimpurusha, yeah. I think. So Hanuman, he got that order from Lord Ramachandra. He followed it.
Prabhupada's also given us the instruction to cooperate with one another. How well we're doing that, I'm not sure, but we're trying.
Lord Chaitanya gave the order to Nityananda and Haridas, the famous order, Prati Gari Gari Gya Koro E Bhiksha, Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. He told them to go to every door, every gully, every place, knock on the door and tell people, chant the name of Krishna, worship Krishna, and study the books about Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya told Haridas and Lord Nityananda like that. And they did, and they went even to Jagai and Madhai and got them to chant, tried to make them devotees. And Lord Chaitanya told the Brahmana from Kurmadesh. The Brahmana from Kurmadesh wanted to go with Lord Chaitanya. He wanted to leave home. But Lord Chaitanya gave him instruction and told him, Yari deki tari kaho Krishna upadesh, amar agai guru hana tara edesh. He told him, wherever you go, whoever you meet, tell them about Krishna. And in this way you become a spiritual teacher. He said, you don't have to leave home. He said, you won't get my associate. He said, if you do like this, you follow this instruction, then you'll always have my association. And then also Lord Chaitanya gave instruction to Raghunath. that Raghunath wanted to leave home. And Lord Chaitanya told him, no, he said, just stay at home. He said, don't be a sahaja. Don't take everything cheaply. Just simply go home and behave like a normal person and keep Krishna in your heart. And in time, at least in time, in the future, when the time is right, then you will be able to leave home. And Raghunath did it. Raghunath he was always running away from home, but then he met Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya told him, you just stay at home. Don't be sahaja. So he took the order very seriously. Right? So taking the orders from the spiritual authority is very important. Just like when we get initiation, that time the spiritual master may give you some order. Well, of course, we promise, we ourselves promise to chant 16 rounds and follow principles. So these orders are important. And Prabhupada writes, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states that one should not care very much whether he is going to be liberated or not, but he should simply execute the direct order received from the spiritual master. If one sticks to the principle of abiding by the order of the spiritual master, he will always remain in a liberated position. So the order of the spiritual masters, it's our life and soul. So we're trying to continue in that way, as Prabhupada was given instructions. We're trying to continue applying the same principles Srila Prabhupada gave us. Okay. All right, so we'll take a break here. Let's have a 10-minute break. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhus. Everybody back?
Hare Krishna
Yeah?
Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Welcome back. Yeah, okay. So we were talking about the order of the spiritual master. I was just thinking about some interesting examples. Prabhupada gave orders to different devotees to do things, you know. You know, like he sent Brahmananda at one point, he sent Brahmananda to Pakistan. They go to Pakistan, you know, and that was at the beginning of our movement. They had no idea who we, and Brahmananda went as well. That was one thing, and then another thing. Prabhupada had the devotee start the temple in Delhi. And they were on the train, and the train just passed through the train station in Delhi. And one man somehow saw Prabhupada there and started to speak to him, and then said to Prabhupada, he said, you know, why don't you have a temple in Delhi? And so Prabhupada immediately turned to the devotee who was accompanying him in the train, and he said, Guru Das, get down now. You get off the train now and make open a temple here in Delhi. and he said, you can take a few men with you. You know, there were like 3 or 4 people, and his wife also went with him, Yamuna, the wife of Guru Das. So they got off the train, and Prabhupada gave them 50 rupees and said, here, this will start your preaching. So Prabhupada gave instructions to devotees, sometimes very difficult. One thing Prabhupada wanted, temple managers, they would spend 50% of their income had to be spent on books. He said, whatever income you get, you spend 50% to buy books from the BBT. I said, that way you will always have books in the temple. He said, don't just keep money in the bank, but have books. He said, that's a good investment. The Prabhupada had a lot of instructions. He said we should recite a chapter of Bhagavad Gita every day. And he said we should all get up by 4 o'clock in the morning. So many different instructions. Prabhupada gave a lot. And it's up to devotees to try to follow them. And the more you follow the instructions of the pure devotee, then the more you become purified yourself. Okay, so we're up to verse number 14 here, talking about the king and the duty of the king. So to give protection to the general mass of people who are citizens of the state is the prescribed occupational duty of a king.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, sorry to interrupt you. Maharaj, I think your video got switched off.
Oh, my video. You want my video on?
I'd like to see you, Maharaj.
Okay. Wait.
If it's not much of an inconvenience.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Hare Krishna. All right, so where are we? The duty of the king. Prabhupada writes, or actually it's the verse, not the purport, but in the verse it said the king shouldn't just simply collect taxes, but he must give them proper protection as human beings. So karma is there. The king's taking taxis, he has a duty, as a responsibility. So Prabhupada in the purport, he raises another question. This question was actually raised to Prabhupada himself when Prabhupada came to Geneva. It was 1974, and Prabhupada came to Geneva in Switzerland, and there were many young men joining our Krishna consciousness movement at that time. Many young men were taking an interest in our Krishna consciousness movement. And Prabhupada met with the mayor of Geneva, and the mayor asked him, he said, what will happen if everybody becomes a Hare Krishna? and Prabhupada raises a similar question here in the purport. He said, if everyone engaged in spiritual activities to attain salvation and became indifferent to the activity of the material world, then how could things as they are go on? So that was the question of the mayor of Geneva in 1974. So Prabhupada put that into his purport here in the 4th canto. But he answers it the same way as he did to the mayor. He explained to the mayor about Varnashram Dharma, that in society it's not that everybody is engaged in Brahminical work. You know, the devotees, they were preaching, but not everybody's expected to be a preacher. Somebody's the cook, and somebody's a gardener, and somebody's a motor mechanic, and there's many different activities to be done. So you've got Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. There are many things to be done. Everyone should be engaged according to their proper situation. It's not that everybody has to just simply chant Hare Krishna all the time. So Prabhupada makes the point, however, Krishna consciousness means to be completely free from all sinful activities. This is important. A devotee of Krishna should not have should not be involved in any kinds of sinful activities. It means he doesn't purchase meat, he doesn't sell meat, he doesn't, he's not involved in gambling and things like that. So the lifestyle of a devotee must be pure. And the same way, on the spiritual platform, it's a duty of the spiritual master to make sure his disciples avoid sinful activities. Otherwise, the spiritual master becomes responsible for their sinful activities. So when we give initiation, when a spiritual master will give initiation, he's very concerned to make sure that that person who's being initiated is not engaged in any kind of sinful activities. Because if he is, then the spiritual master also has to get involved, has to take some of that karma. And Srila Prabhupada indicated that before he left the world. He said, he held up his skinny arm and said, this is the result of accepting unqualified disciples. So he was very concerned that people who were coming into Krishna consciousness, that they should strictly follow the principles of Krishna consciousness. So Lord Vishnu is instructing Maharaj Prithu and telling him about the importance of following religious principles without attachment to ideas manufactured by mental concoction. So then you'll be happy, then you'll be liberated, and very soon you will meet the 4 Kumaras. So following the principles mentioned here, the word was mentioned, Dvijagriya, following the prominent brahmanas, The parampara is like that. We follow the great acharyas. So we hear from them and follow their instructions. If you follow the Mahajans, then you'll get a good destination. But if we follow the misguided people, the people with no spiritual knowledge, then your destination will be very bad, very inauspicious. And Prabhupada talks about bringing peace to the world. He said, because we give too much importance to people who are like Sudras, and there's no proper Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. And so that's why you get upheavals in society. You get communal riots and battles and fratricidal quarrels. So many things go on. And this is all because people not having proper education. They're not spiritually guided. So Maharaj Prithu is being congratulated by Lord Vishnu. He said, Lord Vishnu tells him in text 16, I'm captivated by your elevated qualities and excellent behavior. I'm very favorably inclined towards you. You may therefore ask from me any benediction. So the behavior, he's very pleased with the behavior. And in this purport, Prabhupada lists the different qualities of a devotee. Prabhupada was on one television program in the USA, and the interviewer asked Srila Prabhupada, he said, how would I recognize one of your members, Swamiji? And Prabhupada replied, oh, he will be a perfect gentleman. So Prabhupada considered that the characteristic of a devotee is their behavior. It's not just they wear the tilak or they have a shaved head or their dress or anything, but the actual characteristic of the devotee is their behavior. That they'll be proper, they'll behave so nicely that people will appreciate them. That, oh, he's a very nice, just like Prabhupada was appreciated. People say he was very nice. He behaved so nicely, his behavior. So this is very important. And Prabhupada writes there at the end of the purport, he said, unless one is fully qualified to become a pure devotee of the Lord, one cannot expect to be liberated from material entanglement. So pure devotees, they will have these good qualities. So in this way, Lord Vishnu has been instructing Maharaj Prithu, and Maharaj Prithu has taken the instructions very seriously. It said he's taken them on his head. He's not taken them lightly. He's taken the instructions of Lord Vishnu very seriously. He's taken them to his head. And King Indra was standing by. King Indra had been listening to the conversation, and he became ashamed because he'd been, his own behavior was quite bad. He'd stolen away the horse, and he didn't want Maharaj Prithu to have 100 sacrifices like him. Like that, there was enviousness, jealousy was there. But now, after hearing Lord Vishnu speak to Maharaj Prithu, Indra has been affected. He's become ashamed of his own activities, and he fell down before Maharaj Prithu and touched his lotus feet. So how did Maharaj Prithu respond? Maharaj Prithu, he picks him up and embraces him. He gave up all the envy. He forgot that he'd stolen the horse, He never thought, oh, this is the one, he stole my horse, I was going to do the 100th sacrifice and he stole it. But no, he's very forgiving, he's showing the Brahminical quality. And Indra has also become humble. Indra wanted to take he's fallen at the feet of Maharaj Prithu. But Maharaj Prithu wouldn't let him. He picked him up and Prabhupada talks about when you commit an offense against a devotee, the only way you can get relief from that offense is by falling at the feet of the devotee. You have to take the dust from their feet. You have to fall at their feet and beg forgiveness. But a devotee, if the person is really a devotee, he should be humble and he shouldn't let someone fall at his feet. He'll pick them up and say, no, please. So this kind of mood is there. It's important. Prabhupada talks about cooperation. He said this is a first-class example of cooperative behavior between Vaishnavas. Cooperative behavior between Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas, we have to show the perfect behavior. But then Prabhupada talks, he said, because people are not Vaishnavas, they fight perpetually amongst one another. And they never finish the mission of human life. So there's a great need to propagate Krishna consciousness, even though people sometimes become angry and malicious towards one another. But if they're Krishna conscious, then that rivalry, that competitive mood and envy, it can all be adjusted without difficulty. So this is the point, as devotees we have a responsibility to show these different qualities. We don't want quarreling and arguing. That means we're letting the age of Kali come into our midst. His Holiness Bhakti Swami used to say like that. He said if people are arguing, if devotees are arguing with each other, it means they're letting this envious, angry mood come into their midst. We're letting Kali Yuga come in, and we have to keep Kali Yuga out. So cooperative mood should be there, working together. So King Prithu worshipped the feet of Lord Vishnu, who was merciful to him, and Prithu Maharaj gradually became ecstatic in devotional service. He began to experience ecstasy. And this is not surprising. The Lord is Bhaktavatsala. He reciprocates with his pure devotees. Because the devotee is in the heart of the Lord is very kind to his devotee, especially his pure devotee. So Lord Vishnu was about to leave, but he was so much inclined to Maharaj Prithu, he did not depart. Just like Lord Krishna was about to leave Hastinapur when Queen Kunti came running before him and offered her prayers. Queen Kunti came with her prayers and Lord Krishna heard her prayers. He couldn't go. He stayed for another couple of months. So here also Lord Vishnu stays with Maharaj Prithu, and seeing the behavior of Maharaj Prithu, he was so affected, he was so appreciative of the devotee. So this is the reciprocation between the Lord and the devotee. Prabhupada writes, he is always in everyone's heart, but only the devotee can realize the Lord's presence, and thus he is directly connected. And he takes instructions from the Lord at every moment. Therefore, there is no chance of a devotee's being in error, nor is there any partiality on the part of the Lord for his pure devotee. So Prabhupada said there's no chance of a devotee being wrong because he's taking direction from the Lord. So, who is of course, you have to be a pure devotee to get that perfect direction. Not everyone, we're not all so pure. But Maharaj Prithu is very pure, and he got perfect direction. So we're hearing Maharaj Prithu was in ecstasy, and being with the Lord and having all this instruction from the Lord, Maharaj Prithu's bhava had been aroused and his voice is faltering and choked up. Tears are coming from his eyes. He wants to speak to the Lord, so he folds his hands and he's ready to speak to the Lord. The Lord, it said, the Lord stood with his lotus feet almost touching the ground. Maharaj Prithu is wiping the tears from his eyes and he looks at Lord Vishnu. So Maharaj Prithu is looking at Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu's feet are just off the ground because initially it's mentioned he'd come from Brahmaloka. The demigods, when they come down to the earthly planet, then they keep their weightlessness. So they can stand without touching the ground. So Lord Vishnu came there, but initially he wasn't touching the ground. But because he was playing the part of coming from the higher planets, so he wasn't touching the ground. But then later, then he touches the ground. That he's fully satisfied with the behavior of Maharaj Prithu, and he acted as the personality of Godhead Narayan from Vaikuntha. So when he plays the part of Narayan, then his feet touch the ground. So it's mentioned here like this. Maharaj Prithu is appreciating this. So Maharaj Prithu now begins to offer prayers to the Lord, and he wants to show his appreciation to the Lord who had come there to resolve this conflict which had been there with King Indra and him. So Maharaj Prithu describes that he doesn't have any desire for any material benediction from the Lord. He said, I know you can give all different kinds of benedictions, but he said, I have no desire to go to the heavenly planets or to get liberation or become one. Prabhupada writes about different conditions. Merging into the existence of the Lord is considered as good as hell. And then Prabhupada said the word narak means hell. And similarly, everyone who exists in this material world is called narak, because this material existence is known as a hellish condition of life. And so Prabhupada said the same thing about the UK. He said, this England, he said, this is hell. When he was asked what's it like in hell, he said, oh, this London. He said, this is hell. So Prabhupada, there were quite a few hells. He said factories was another name for hell. And here he's saying everyone's living in hellish existence of life. Anyway, Maharaj Prithu is not concerned about heaven or hell. He simply wants something else. He certainly doesn't want Kaivalya, he doesn't want that oneness, and he doesn't want any big position. So it's mentioned, he said, I want the benediction. What does Maharaj Prithu want? He said, I want the benediction of at least 1 million ears, for thus I may be able to hear about the glories of your lotus mouth from the mouths of your pure devotees. So 1 million ears, so that I can hear. So that's a very nice benediction to want. There's a prayer by Rupa Goswami, and he says, no one knows how much nectar there are in the two syllables, Krishna. He said, when I chant the holy name, I wish that I had millions of tongues to chant and millions of ears to hear the holy name. And he said, when the holy name enters into the courtyard of my heart, then it conquers the mind's desires and all the senses become inert. So in this way, Rupa Goswami, he was describing a similar situation, that he wanted to have many tongues and many ears to enjoy chanting the holy name and hearing the holy name. So here also Maharaj Prithu is asking, he wants at least 1 million ears so that I can hear the glories of your lotus feet from the mouths of your pure devotees. Very nice wish to get that. So it's important for us to hear from the devotees, don't just hear from anyone. Lord Chaitanya was very strict in that. So Maharaj Prithu continues to offer his glorification to the Lord, and he talks about the lotus feet of the Lord. They said they're just like saffron particles. And he said the vibration from the mouth of the devotees carries the aroma of the saffron particles of the Lord's lotus feet. So Prithu Maharaj said, I don't need any other benediction but the opportunity to hear from the mouth of your pure devotee. So Prabhupada in the purport talks about sleeping and the sleeping tendency, and he quotes a song by Bhakti Vinod Thakur, wake up sleeping souls, Jeev Jago, like that. So difficult to keep ourselves awake, overcome that tendency for Maya. Prabhupada would often chastise devotees for sleeping. And sometimes the devotees would say, I'm not sleeping, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada would argue back. He would say, if your eyes are closed and you're not moving, then you are asleep. So nobody could defeat Prabhupada when it came to arguing. So in the purport here, text number 25, Prabhupada writes, every one of us is kuyogi. Kuyogi means we're not interested in devotional service. He said, every one of us is kuyogi because we have engaged in the service of the material world, forgetting our eternal relationship with the Lord as his eternal loving servants. So it's our duty to become suyogi. Instead of kuyogi, we should become suyogi, meaning perfect mystics. So to do that, we have to hear. And Lord Chaitanya says, Prabhupada quotes in the purport, you can stay whatever position you're in, but we have to hear from the devotees. All right, that was the main principle. When Lord Chaitanya was discussing with Ramananda Rai was asked to give verses about the ultimate goal of the highest principle of religion. And he quoted different verses, and finally he came to this verse which says, just simply stay in whatever. Stane stita shrutigatan tan vanmanobir ye prayaso jita jitopi asitais trilokyam. Yeah, the conclusion was, the answer which Lord Chaitanya wanted was that stay in whatever position you're in and simply hear about Krishna in the association of devotees. In this way, you can conquer Krishna. Although Krishna is unconquerable, he becomes conquered by the pure love of his devotee. Gyane prayasamudapasya namanta eva jivanti san mukariktam bhavadiya bhartam stane stita shrutigatan tan vanmanobir ye prayaso jita jitopi asitais trilokyam. Lord Krishna is a jita, unconquerable, but he becomes conquered by his devotee, by the pure love of his devotee. So hearing about Krishna is very important. Lord Chaitanya accepted that as being the ultimate process of devotion. The highest principle of religion is to hear about Krishna in the association of devotees. And Prabhupada writes here, this process of hearing from the mouth of a pure devotee is very important for making progress in the line of spiritual understanding. Very important. Okay, going ahead. Next verse, 26. Association of devotee is the most important factor in this world. The word Arya refers to those who are advancing spiritually in the history of the human race. The Aryan family is considered to be the most elevated community in the world because it adopts the Vedic civilization. The Aryan family is distributed all over the world and is known as Indo-Aryan. Anyway, Prabhupada did say association, 98% of our Krishna consciousness depends on association. We have to get association. You know, sometimes you get people saying, oh, well, I'll just simply stay at home and chant and read. I don't want association. Then we know they're not going to last very long. If people don't associate, it will be very difficult for them to maintain Krishna consciousness. So you have to get association. And this is stated here in this verse also. Maharaj Prithu is describing, if in the association of pure devotees, if we hear your glories, then he said, if we hear even once your glories, then it's an opportunity to become greatly benefited. But if he doesn't hear the glories of the Lord, then he's just an animal. He's nothing but an animal. If he gives up the association of devotees, then he's foolish. He leaves the association of devotees. He'll simply take up animal life again. Dvipada Pashu, the animal life. So Maharaj Prithu is very emphatic. He's saying only an animal can give up the practice of chanting Hare Krishna. Those who are not animals, but actually intelligent, advanced humans, civilized men, cannot give up this practice. And that's stated in Shastra also. in relation to the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. It's in the 11th canto. Karabhajana Muni is speaking with Maharaj Nimi. Krishna Varnam, no. Oh, Krishna Varnam Tavish Akrishnam, Krishna Varnam Tavish Akrishnam. Anyway, that verse which describes the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, Yagnai Sankirtan Praya, Yajantihi Sumedasa, Krishna Varnam Tavisha Krishnam, Sango Pangrishta Parshadam, Yagnai Sankirtan Praya, Yajantihi Sumedasaha. So Sumedasaha, Medasa means intelligent, and Sumedasa means purified intelligence. Purified brain. In contrast, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is talking about people who worship the devas, other gods. He said, Antavat tupalam tesham tadbhavati aupamedashaha. So you've got aupamedashaha in the Bhagavad Gita, aupa meaning small or meager intelligence. And who has small or meager intelligence? People who worship other gods than the Supreme God. Their intelligence is considered very meager or small. But people who are engaged in the chanting of the Maha Mantra and who are taking part in the Sankirtan movement, they have purified intelligence. Their intelligence is Sumedasaha. So Maharaj Prithu said, now I want to engage in the service of your lotus feet. And I want to serve just like the goddess of fortune, who carries a lotus flower in her hand. But Maharaj Prithu has a problem.
Maharaj is frozen. Maybe a network problem. Maybe.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
I was disconnected, so I'm back again. So Maharaj Prithu is saying he may have a conflict with the goddess of fortune because they both be interested in doing the same service for the Lord. But they do it with a different mood. The goddess of fortune and Maharaj Prithu are quite different. Although Maharaj Prithu wants to serve the lotus feet of the Lord, the goddess of fortune is there and she usually does that. So Maharaj Prithu is considered to be an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, but a Shaktavesha avatar. Now the goddess of fortune, she is one of the wives of the Lord. She's the consort of the Lord, and she has a place on the Lord's chest. But she's always she's engaged in a lot of service for the pleasure of the Lord. And Prabhupada talks about that in the purport. how the goddess of fortune likes to do many services, and she doesn't like to let other people come and serve the Lord. So Maharaj Prithu was thinking he wanted to serve the lotus feet of the Lord. So Maharaj Prithu, he is on the platform of Dasharas. But the goddess of fortune, she is in Madhurya Ras, because she's the wife. She's the wife of the Lord. She has the opportunity. She is Prabhupada writes, she's the universal mother, Jagan Mata, the mother of the universe. So there was no real competition. He wouldn't be able to compete with her. But he feared that she might take offense at his engaging in the service of the Lord. Of course, one of the points is that Lakshmi is chanchala, that she is restless. So sometimes she may go away. So at that time, Maharaj Prithu may come. And when she comes back, then she may be upset. So Prabhupada said, sometimes in the Vaikuntha world, there's competition, but there's no malice. There's no bitterness. In the Vaikuntha world, other people will appreciate someone's service.
Maharaj, I had a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the Shakti Avesh avatar aspects of the Lord, when it's a Jiva Tattva, then you know how when Krishna kills someone, whether he's killing a devotee or a non-devotee, they achieve liberation? Is that the same with like Shakti Avesh avatars, like that whatever they do, the action they're doing is absolute in the same way a Vishnu Tattva avatar would do?
Well, I've never heard that before. For example, Parasuram, Parasuram, I think Parasuram is also Shaktavesha avatar. And he killed a lot of people. I never heard that they were all liberated. Did it happen? Did they all get liberated?
I'm not sure. I guess that's my question, that whether they would achieve the same mercy. Like, for example, Shishupal, when he gets killed by the Lord, we know that he attains liberation. And then there's that whole discussion in Canto 7. So I was just wondering what the situation of a Shakti Avesh Jiva Tattva would be.
Yeah. Well, when they're killed by the Lord, that's one thing. But when they're killed by a Shaktavesha avatar, that's a different thing. I don't think you could say that they all get liberated.
Oh, Maharaj, thank you.
At least I've never seen it anywhere.
Yeah, I'm just very curious because Parashuram kills so many of the Kshatriyas. I'm just wondering what the outcome of that is for the souls that are killed, because he kills both like good kings and bad kings. So I was just a bit curious.
Well, at least you get karma kanda. If they're killed on the battlefield, then they go to the heavenly planets. Right? If it's on the platform of karma kanda, die on the battlefield. To die on the battlefield for the Kshatriya is glorious, and because they will go to heaven. So if they were killed by Parasurama, they could go to heaven. They attain the higher planets.
Thanks, Maharaj.
All right. So anyway, text 28 goes on, there's more discussion about Lakshmi and her service. And he's Maharaj Prithu's quite concerned about it. That he says, she may be angry with me because of my intruding upon her service, acting on that platform to which she is so much attached. But I am hopeful that even though there's some misunderstanding, you will take my part, for you are very much inclined to the poor, and you always magnify even insignificant service unto you. Therefore, even though she becomes angry, I think there is no harm for you, because you are so self-sufficient that you can do without her. So he said to the Lord, well, you're Atmarama. Because you're Atmarama, you're self-sufficient. So you don't need Lakshmi anymore anyway. So it's interesting. Prabhupada said, all this is not very likely. Yet Maharaj Prithu, just for his personal protection, appealed to the Lord to take his part. And the Lord was so kind and magnanimous, he was ready to award Prithu Maharaj the highest perfectional stage of life, namely, the highest perfection of life, devotional service. So 29 continues, Maharaj Prithu, his prayers. He says, there's no reason for the liberated souls to take shelter at your lotus feet. Such souls are constantly thinking of your feet. They're already there, they're already thinking of your lotus feet. So he's comparing the platform of liberation to devotional service. Of course, people who are engaged in devotional service, they're not really interested in liberation. They're already liberated. People who are doing devotional service begins on the platform of liberation. So liberation is not at all the goal for a devotee. Prabhupada writes about the jnani, they give up their material work. The jnani understands that there's material work, the material world is all miserable, so many trials, so many difficulties in the material world. They give up everything. And so they take karma sannyas. Karma sannyas, give up all work. They don't do any kind of work, just stop everything, just sit down, do nothing. And then they want to go on and become liberated. If they get some proper knowledge, they come to devotional service. So Maharaj Prithu then talks about what he said. He said that you bewildered people. What you've said in the Vedas, it's not suitable for pure devotees. People become affected by this, the language of the Vedas. The language of the Vedas offer elevation to higher planets and longer life and material enjoyment, or it can also offer impersonal liberation, but it rarely speaks about devotional service. And Maharaj Prithu, he's saying that material benefit is just another trap in the material world. Offering material benedictions will just entangle people in material life. A pure devotee has no interest in any of these things. He doesn't want liberation, he just simply wants devotional service. Because of the material energy, people are trying to enjoy the material world. And they want to keep their family, they enjoy the society and friends. But Maharaj Prithu prays to the Lord, he said, please don't ask me to take any material benefit from you. Just give me, Maharaj Prithu says to the Lord, just give me whatever you think is best for me. Give me the best thing. So that is the nice prayer of the devotee. Maharaj Prithu prays like that. Just give me the best thing. What you think is best, give me that. And so, what's the Lord going to give him? We shouldn't want any kind of material happiness. We should simply want to be engaged in the Lord's service. That is the highest perfection of life. And Prabhupada quotes, of course, Lord Chaitanya's 4th verse of the Shikshastikam, Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim, that we don't want this, I don't want that, I simply want devotional service, birth after birth. So this was Maharaj Prithu's prayers, and after hearing them, the Lord replies, and he tells Maharaj Prithu, prayers are very nice, I'm very satisfied by hearing your prayers. Your purpose is very pure. May you always be blessed with devotional service. You can cross over the ocean of material existence. At the same time, Lord Vishnu warns Maharaj Prithu to be very careful, to always strictly follow his instructions, Lord Vishnu's instructions, and don't be misled. Don't be misled by anything. Simply carry out my orders faithfully, and you'll always have good fortune wherever you go. So he's been given instructions to be very careful. And then Maitreya continues talking to Vidura. He tells them how Lord Vishnu appreciated the prayers of Maharaj Prithu. And then Maharaj Prithu worships the king, and then the king's ready to go. Prabhupada points out, when a devotee offers prayers, it is not to ask for some material benefit, but to ask the Lord for his favor. He prays that he may be engaged in the Lord's service, in the service of the Lord's lotus feet, birth after birth. Janmani, Janmani, birth after birth. A devotee is not interested in liberation. Lord Chaitanya Shikshastikam said, I just want devotional service, birth after birth. So that is the mood of the devotee. Maharaj Prithu is an incarnation of the power of the Lord to spread the bhakti cult, and the Lord blessed him to remain fixed in his position. So the Lord was happy when Maharaj Prithu said, I don't want anything material. That was pleasing. Lord Vishnu was happy to hear that. So chapter continues telling about Maharaj Prithu, how he worshipped all the demigods and the great sages, the pitris, all the different people. He worshipped many other living entities who had all come to the sacrificial arena. He worshipped all of them, as well as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the personal associates of the Lord, by offering sweet words and as much wealth as possible. After this, they all went back to their abodes, following in the footsteps of Lord Vishnu. So Srila Prabhupada discusses that there are 14 different levels of planetary systems. People think life is only on one planet. He said, this is nonsense. Life is everywhere in the universe. And all these different people, they'd all come for the sacrifice from different places in the universe. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he'd also come. So the Lord who came in the sacrificial arena of Maharaj Prithu, that is Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. So he's residing there on the milk ocean, in the middle of the milk ocean. Kshirodakashayi Vishnu is also the super soul in the heart of all living entities. So in text 38, they make the point that the Lord, although his body is not material, he appeared to the sight of Maharaj Prithu. So Maharaj Prithu could see the Lord there, and all the other different personalities who accompanied the Lord. So he offers obeisances to everyone and then returns home. So this is the main points of this chapter. The Lord is avyakta, but he becomes manifest to his devotees. Okay, are there any questions on this chapter? We've heard how Maharaj Prithu had the darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the arena of sacrifice. Lord Vishnu came there along with Indra, and they came to instruct Maharaj Prithu not to be attached to performing 100 horse sacrifices. they told him, you have to forgive Indra. He was given that instruction by Lord Vishnu, that he shouldn't be in the bodily concept of life. The sacrifices should be performed for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, not for his own pleasure. And so Lord Vishnu gave instructions to Maharaj Prithu, mainly telling him he should work carefully, taking care of the citizens, protecting the citizens from sinful life. And the Lord encourages him also, do karma yoga, work in a detached manner, offering the results of his work for the Lord. Cultivate knowledge also by hearing from the pure devotees, and in this way come to bhakti yoga. So after getting instructions from Lord Vishnu, Maharaj Prithu offered his prayers to Lord Vishnu, and his prayer, he asked, just let me have millions of ears so that I can hear the glories of the Lord. And then we had also Indra falling at the feet of Maharaj Prithu, asking forgiveness, and Maharaj Prithu very humbly picking up Indra and embracing Indra and showing wonderful behavior. So the Lord was very pleased with the behavior of Maharaj Prithu and congratulated him and encouraged him to continue in that way and to protect the citizens and to continue hearing the topics of the Lord in the association of pure devotees. Okay, are there any questions?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes,
Maharaj, Hare Krishna. Maharaj, I had a question in relation to one point that Srila Prabhupada makes in the 18th verse in the purport, where Srila Prabhupada says, an offender at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava is never excused by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he goes on to say, he goes on to give the example of Ambarish Maharaj, who was offended by Durvasa Muni and he had to fall at the feet. So how do we understand this particular statement? Does it mean that notwithstanding the fact that the Vaishnava or the devotee may have forgiven the offender, although the devotee may have forgiven the offender, the Lord still does not forgive him, or the Lord does not deem it as his responsibility or not within his ability to condone the offense of someone who offends a Vaishnava?
yes. Generally, we consider that if the devotee forgives the person, then the Lord will also forgive him.
Okay.
If the devotee, just like it was described, Ambarish, Durvasa Muni came back to Ambarish and he fell at the feet of Ambarish and he got forgiven. And this way, the Lord never took any action against him because he came and fell at the feet of the devotee.
Okay.
And as soon as he fell at the feet of the devotee, then the Sudarshan Chakra stopped chasing Durvasa. Then he was saved. That's how he saved himself from the Sudarshan Chakra of Vishnu.
Thank you,
So
Maharaj.
you have to get the mercy of the devotee. And with the mercy of the devotee, then you get the mercy of the Lord. By the mercy of the Lord, by the mercy of the devotee, you get the mercy of Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, I want to ask about Shaktavesh avatar. Shaktavesh avatar is not necessarily Vishnu Tattva, is it?
Well, it's an incarnation of Vishnu.
It is always Vishnu Tattva.
Yeah, I would consider that it is Vishnu Tattva because it's an incarnation of Vishnu.
Maharaj, but we say that Srila Prabhupada is also Shaktavesh avatar.
Well, yeah, we say like that, but you know that's our feeling. But that's how, you know, of course, not everybody's. You know, that's not. Everybody has that feeling. Not everybody has that feeling. That, you know, like if you go outside of ISKCON, you don't find people have some same kind of feeling about Prabhupada. You know, we have that feeling because he's our founder, Acharya. We're following him. But it doesn't mean that everybody's following him. And just like Lord Chaitanya, you know, we accept Lord Chaitanya as the Supreme Lord, but other places like Sri Vaishnavas and so on, they don't follow Lord Chaitanya. They don't accept Lord Chaitanya. They have their own ideas. Who's Lord Chaitanya? So we say, and we of course we have verses from the scriptures to support Lord Chaitanya's position also. And Srila Prabhupada, you know, we can also support Srila Prabhupada's position. We could say he's a Senapati Bhakta who came to, you know, to deliver people in the Kali Yuga, to deliver the fallen souls. So it's you know, it's not going to be the same everywhere. Some places, like we have our teachings, and not everybody will agree with everything we say. So Parasarama, however, that's you know, that's a much more historical figure, and he's one of the Dasa avatars. And Jayadeva Goswami's Dasa Avatar Stotra, he's there. So he's, you know, a very important personality. Although Shaktavesha Avatar, but still we could consider he's also Vishnu, in a sense.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Anybody else? You know anything about? Anybody know anything about this? About Parasuram being Shaktavesha avatar, and how do we accept Shaktavesha avatars? Do we worship them as Vishnu? It will depend up to, maybe the Ministry of Deity Worship have to make a decision on that, you know. What is going to be the standard? You know, we have different standards for these different things. It varies, it can vary. But I would see him as I would consider him that we could worship him as Vishnu.
One question, Naradji is also a Shaktavesh avatar.
Narada. Yes. Narada, is he Shakta? Yes, usually Shaktavesha, right? He's the pure son, yeah. The best of the sons of Brahma.
Maharaj, there is a temple for Lord Parshuram in the south. Apparently, that is one of its kind. It's in Trivandrum. It's called Parshurama Kshetram, where the personality of Lord Parshuram is actually worshipped in a deity form. So there is an example of course, we don't know which sampradaya it is or which parampara does that, but yeah.
But there is temples there, yeah. Certainly people doing maybe martial arts, probably, maybe they worship Parasuram. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's interesting. And certainly Jayadev Goswami considers him like Vishnu. Keshavadrita
Bhrigupati Rupa.
Oh, Bhrigupati Rupa, right. Bhrigupati Rupa, right. So he put him in there as a form of Vishnu. What about Narada? Narada is also Shaktavesha avatar. How do we consider Narada Muni? Srila Prabhupada had us put a seat at the side of the altar in London. They said Narada Muni, Lord Brahma, they like to come to Aarti. Okay. So, any other questions? Okay, so then we'll finish here tonight. And yes?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, I was just searching. So in a lecture, in a conversation, Prabhupada is telling that Prahlad Maharaj is also Shaktavesh avatar and Buddha also is Shaktavesh avatar. And he mentions Jesus Christ and Muhammad also as Shaktavesh avatar.
Okay, thank you, Maharaji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Then the question is, how do we how do we go about it? I'll ask Jananivas about how they worship Prahlad Maharaj, because Prahlad Maharaj is on the altar here in Mayapur, and he's Shaktavesha avatar. So how do they go about it? Do they make any distinction? Yeah, he's also we're all Vishnu, right? We're all part of Vishnu, but we're tiny parts of Vishnu, and they're empowered parts of Vishnu. There is a distinction, but in one sense, we're all Vishnu. We're connected there to Vishnu. But Lord Buddha, certainly we could put him on the altar, and Lord Jesus Christ also, we did that before. Some countries, I think it was in Ireland, and they had the Lord Jesus there. Yeah, you can do that. We recognize them as being empowered personalities, Shaktavesha avatars. Well, usually we don't worship Buddha because Lord Buddha rejected the Vedas. And similarly, Lord Jesus Christ is not really Vedic. I don't know how it becomes becomes difficult if you open up to everyone. If you put all the Shaktavesha avatars, then very difficult. But they certainly did great work for the benefit of the world, and we should appreciate them. They delivered many souls. Lord Jesus Christ, Prophet Muhammad, they did a lot of great work delivering souls.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. In another place, Srila Prabhupada is telling that Shaktavesha avatars, there are two kinds. One are directly empowered for particular mission, comes from the transcendental spiritual sky, and others, those who are in this material world. But they have got some specific power, uncommon power, not found in ordinary man. They are called Vibhuti.
Thank you, Manaji. Where is that from? Where did you get it from?
I think she lost her connection. She's gone.
Oh, I'm
Mar-
sorry. I'm sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, this is from a lecture on Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 20.367 to 84 in New York, December 31st, 1966.
Okay, 1960.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Very nice. Okay, so we'll stop.
Mataji, could you post the link in the chat group or in the WhatsApp group later? Thank you.
Yes. Hare
Okay, we can finish?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, so thank you very much. So we'll see you tomorrow night. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Krishna. Thank you.